So, alrighty, good morning everyone. This is our fire weather briefing for Tuesday, August 7th in the morning. We are watching our main player in the next 36 hours is going to be a combination of this system that's offshore right now. That's going to swing north and east and actually stay well away from Idaho. But it's going to help draw all this moisture you see down towards the desert southwest, Utah, that area. That's going to help draw that moisture up into the area for tomorrow afternoon and evening. For today, we do have some very limited moisture over us, so isolated storms, mainly up in your area, Paul, there in the central mountains. So should not get out of hand in terms of thunderstorm coverage today, but that threat will be up there for this afternoon. Talking about the threat for tomorrow, that's where we have the highest threat for widely scattered to scattered thunderstorms. More isolated activity once you head farther east towards the Snake Plain, the southern and eastern mountains as well. Might see a few more storms sneak into areas around Shoshone, west of Burley, down in zones 409 and 412. But I think the main player, unfortunately, is going to be up your way, Paul, tomorrow with the thunderstorm activity. And it actually looks like the threat of heavy rain keeps decreasing, so I'm more concerned about the dry thunderstorms, winds in excess of 40 miles per hour with some of those storms tomorrow. So certainly not probably some news a lot of people are looking for up that way. Taking a look at how the pattern is going to evolve over the next few days. High pressure pretty much on top of us for throughout the day today into tomorrow morning. You can see that wave that was out west swinging into Washington and Oregon for tomorrow morning. For tomorrow afternoon, the flow opens up out of the southwest as that system skirts to our north. Most of the moisture during the day, again, tomorrow will be the central mountains on over into Boise's side of the Snake Plain and the Magic Valley, barely clipping down towards Burley and Shoshone and that area. And as we go into tomorrow night, we continue with the southwest flow. There will be a threat of isolated thunderstorms. At this point, hopefully that's all we're looking at for tomorrow night over the central mountains, maybe down into the western Magic Valley and southern highlands. By Thursday afternoon, the flow continues to shift more west. That's going to push the moisture even farther to the east, which basically means all areas may be under the threat for widely scattered, even scattered thunderstorm activity across the area. Probably not going to include that in a headline today. We'll strongly word our fire weather forecast and such. I don't want to have too many headlines out there at once. It gets to be a lot for people to read, and knowing that some people that may be too much information, but we'll certainly get the word out that Thursday looks to be an active thunderstorm day for pretty much all areas, especially farther to the east. By Thursday night and Friday morning, the next wave moves farther inland. We will see a continued threat over the central mountains, over towards Monida Pass and Yellowstone, of some isolated thunderstorms during the overnight period. So it also looks like the next couple of days we're not going to see things completely dying out in the overnight hours like we sometimes do here, see here in the summer. We'll go through into the weekend. Again, the flow actually will continue to shift more to the west. That's actually going to try to bring a little bit drier air into the area for Saturday. It looks like we'll see mainly thunderstorms over towards the Wyoming border, the Bear Lake area, everyone else trying to dry out a bit. After that, unfortunately, the forecast pattern gets very, very, very uncertain. What we're looking here is more along the lines of what the GFS model is trying to pump out for the early and middle part of next week, which is actually probably a better solution to buy into. We may see an uptick by later Monday into Tuesday of some moisture and the chance of showers and thunderstorms. If you were to believe the European, it's developing a very winter-like storm over the western U.S. Given that it's still August, we're kind of throwing that solution out the window. So again, drier air for the weekend, but it does look like maybe early next week we may see another round of thunderstorms developing across the area. And also with that zonal flow, we'll probably be keeping an eye out maybe for a little better chance of some breezy west winds developing aloft and developing into the lower elevations as the air mixes out during the day. Go ahead and taking a look at those temperatures. Give it a second here to load. It's going to be very warm the next couple of days. For this afternoon, we're going to see mid-90s over the Snake Plain, the valleys of the southern highlands. A little bit farther west, it may be at or above 100. For the central mountains, the valleys in the mid-80s to lower 90s, maybe closer to 95 up in the Salmon area for this afternoon, also Chalice as well. For tonight, temperatures only dropping off into the 50s and lower 60s. The Magic Valley, some of the southern highland valleys may not even get below 65 for the overnight period tonight. Going into tomorrow afternoon, that will actually be the warmest day. We're looking at a better chance of seeing temperatures hitting 100 degrees across the Snake Plain for tomorrow. Low to mid-90s even for places like Stanley and some of those higher valleys up in the central mountains. So again, a warm day. That heat's going to really help fuel the thunderstorms interacting with that moisture as it moves into the area during the day tomorrow. As we go to Thursday morning, temperatures just a tad bit cooler than we'll see tomorrow morning. Cooler again during the day on Thursday. Mid-90s pretty common, low to mid-90s in the lower valleys of the central mountains, also into the southeast corner, so definitely some 80s still residing up in the higher elevations for Thursday afternoon. And temperatures pretty much the next few days, we go to that zonal flow for a little bit, and that actually may help cool us down a couple of degrees, but it'll also keep the forecast pretty consistent. I'll get that out in a moment. Temperatures 50s, near 60 in the valleys. Stanley will be its usual colder spot the next few mornings, and as we go through the weekend, again, Saturday afternoon looks pretty much like Friday afternoon. Pretty much Sunday afternoon looks like Saturday afternoon, with those temperatures staying in the 80s and 90s across the area. Maybe a little bit cooler as that wave moves in for the early part of next week. So it's still going to stay rather warm across the area. Humidity values, we're not going to see really much in the way of change either with that, especially when we mix out and get into the low afternoon humidities across the area this afternoon. Single digits and teens over much of the lower elevations, maybe some 20% humidities this afternoon over the central mountains, also into the southeast corner. Overnight, we should see some humidity recovery. I would be concerned about the higher elevations simply because winds about 9 or 10,000 feet are going to be staying around 15 to 20 miles an hour, and we may actually not see much humidity recovery, at least what we're seeing here in the forecast overnight. We may see less than what's being depicted in the forecast right now. Even with that moisture moving in tomorrow, humidities come up just a tad over the central mountains, but farther to the east, plenty of single digits and low-teen relative humidities in the afternoon across the area. As we go into Friday, you can still see the humidity staying rather low, and that's going to help fuel the dry thunderstorm threat. Earlier on, a few days ago, it looked like we might see a mix of wet and dry. I have a feeling we may see more dry than wet thunderstorms across the area the next couple of days with the moisture moving into the area. For Friday afternoon and evening, again, a little bit higher humidity, but still not a huge rise. And then as we go into the weekend, humidity staying in the teens pretty much across the entire region. So, winds, I'll go ahead and show you those, but we're not really expecting any major wind events outside of downbursts with thunderstorms the next few days. By this afternoon and this evening, generally winds staying under 10 miles per hour, sustained. There might be a few higher gusts up in the up on the ridge tops. As we go into the overnight hours, we'll see the winds in the lower elevations pretty much becoming dominant by the terrain. Above the inversion, we'll again see in the central mountains some winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, pretty likely up towards the ridgetop area. As we go towards tomorrow afternoon, again, the winds not a huge factor. Might see some 10 to 15 mile an hour winds up over the higher elevations of the central mountains, also up towards Monida Pass in that area, but again, elsewhere, winds will be pretty light outside of thunderstorm activity. And that trend pretty much continues. Here is Thursday morning. Again, winds being pretty much driven by terrain. By the afternoon hours, we'll see just a tad bit of mixing. So again, 10 to 15 mile an hour winds possible, mainly up on the ridge tops, but that could be seen at the surface outside of thunderstorms. And then pretty much going through towards Friday morning, again, very light terrain-driven winds across the area. Anybody got any questions at this point?
No, good. Synopsis especially, again, our biggest thing is watching the wet versus dry storm, so that you're put on that pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I know a couple of those storms yesterday produced, maybe up to 0.05 of an inch of rain, but most of it was like, oh, here's a sprinkle enough to wet the concrete, and here are 50-mile-an-hour winds for you. So,
right.
Yeah, and with the moisture coming up some, I just don't think it's going to be enough to switch the mode to mixed or all the way to, rain-producing thunderstorms. So, unfortunately, I think that's going to be the big issue tomorrow with the stuff that develops.
Okay, sounds.
Okay.
Maybe not sounds good, but good summary.
Okay, cool. Did someone else chime in a while ago right before I started? I thought I heard someone ding in. Maybe I was wrong.
Well, there was a Gary Davis.
Okay.
Logged on, but.
Yeah. So. Okay. All right, Paul. If you got any questions, we're here. So I'm here till 3 o'clock. So.
And I did tell you we did change our fuels critical all over, so we're distant now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I don't see a reason why I wouldn't upgrade the watch to a warning this afternoon unless there's a major shift in the forecast. And so far, I'm not seeing that. So expect the watch for tomorrow to go to a warning when I put out the afternoon forecast.
Okay, sounds good.
All righty. Take care. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.